Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Harling again. Today is Tuesday, April 28, 2020. I will be doing lesson 10.1 of your math packet. Please try to find that inside your packet. It is page 561, chapter 10. If you need to pause the video to find it, you may pause the video. This should be the third or fourth sheet after the two I did yesterday. Remember, I did the vocabulary builder sheet yesterday, and then I did the beginning of chapter 10, show what you know. So those were the two sheets I went over. Today I'm actually going to do one of the worksheets from the book that does a lesson for you. So here's the essential question that we're trying to find. It says, how can you tell time to the nearest minute? So that's basically our learning target today. I can tell time to the nearest minute. So we're going to begin by reading this problem. I did some of the sheet with you so you can just follow along, and then wherever I fill in information, you can fill it in too. Again, stop the video at points if you need to, if you think maybe Ms. Harling's going too fast, and then you can come back to wherever you left off. Unlock the problem. It says Groundhog Day is February 2nd. People say that if a groundhog can see its shadow on that morning, winter will last another 6 weeks. The clock shows the time when the groundhog saw its shadow. What time was it? So over here, there's two bullets that they want us to complete. It says underline the question. Ms. Harling already did that. We have to find out what time was it when the groundhog saw its shadow. Then the second bullet says, where will you look to find the time? We're going to look on the clock. And there's the clock right on our paper on the right-hand side of our sheet. Now, here are some questions that they want us to answer to help us find out the time. It says, look at the time on this clock's face, which we did. Okay, we can see the shorthand tells the hour and the minute hand is the longer hand, and it gives us the minutes. First question, what does the hour hand tell you? Well, we know that the hour hand tells us the hour that is on the clock, but on this particular clock, the hour hand comes between 7 and 8. But it is not the 8 o'clock hour, it's the 7 o'clock hour. The reason it's between both numbers is because eventually it will be 8 o'clock. So it's moving toward the 8. But right now we're still in the 7 o'clock hour. So what did I write here? It's between 7 and 8. That is my answer for what does the hour hand tell you on this clock. All right, so you can write that. Again, pause the video if you need to, but I'm going to keep going on. Then it says, what does the minute hand tell you? I put, it is after 7:30. How do I know that? Because if I look at this clock and I start at 12, counting all of the numbers by 5, I can see 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, that this minute hand is definitely after 30 minutes. So we know it's in the 7 o'clock hour. So we also know now that this time is past 7:30. So that's why I wrote this here. It is after 7:30. So we still have to find out the exact time. All right. Then it goes on to say, in 1 minute, the minute hand moves from one mark to the next on a clock. It takes 5 minutes for the minute hand to move from one number to the next on a clock. You can count on by fives to tell time to 5 minutes. Count 0 at 12. So when you begin counting on a clock, the 0 represents the number 12. So this is 0, 5, 10, 15. If we're counting by fives, we know what comes next, right? This is 20, 25, 30, 35. It says, so the groundhog saw its shadow at, if we stopped at 35 minutes, and up here we know that it's still the 7 o'clock hour like I showed you on the clock. This is the 7 o'clock hour because it's still between 7 and 8. This represents 35. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. All right, so we know that the groundhog saw its shadow at 7:35. Now, over here, there's our answer. We know it's 7:35 on this clock, and it says now read that, which I just said, 7:35. Now they're asking us to write it in words. So they wrote 7, and what are we going to write after that? 35. Then, oops, that doesn't look very good, does it? Okay, that's a 5, guys. That's VE. Sorry. All right, then it goes on to say 35 minutes after what hour? The 7 o'clock hour. We're saying 3 different ways to show what time it is. On an analog clock, 7:35. When we read it, we can write 7:35. We can also write it as 35 minutes after 7. Now, I'm going to go up to the clock and show the time as well. Again, they started skip counting for us by 5s on every number. We're not counting the exact minutes yet because the longhand is exactly on the 7. So we're just going to count 0, 5, 10, 15. The 4 represents 20. The 5 represents 25. The 6 represents 30, and the 7 represents 35. So this time is exactly 7:35. All right. Now it says, is 7:35 a reasonable answer? What they're asking is, does it make sense that your clock represents 7:35? We're going to say yes, comma, the hour hand. Let me zoom out here for a minute so you guys can see. Is, whoops, between 7 and 8, and it's after 7:30. All right, so let me zoom out so you guys can see all of that. It says, yes, the hour hand is between 7 and 8, and it's after 7:30. So I'll leave that there for a few seconds so you can copy. All right, my friends, now let's go to the next page, which would be page 562. All right, so let's take a look at that. And it says time to the minute. Again, we're still working. Today is Tuesday. Count by 5s and 1s to help you. And what we're going to do is show one way to do that. It says one way you can do that is find minutes find minutes after the hour. So here's the first clock. We're going to find out the time on it. It says, look at the time on this clock face. What does the hour hand tell you? Again, if I zoom in, we know the short hand is the hour hand. The long hand is the minutes. The short hand is between what 2 numbers? 1 and 2. So we're going to say that again. What does the hour hand tell you? It's between 1 and 2. Okay? Again, if you need to pause the video, if you think I'm going too fast, you can do that and then just pick up where you left off. The next question, what does the minute hand tell you? Again, if I go over and look at the minute hand, now we're doing exact minutes. Remember, that's our learning target. How can I tell time to the nearest minute, or I can tell time to the nearest minute? So we've got to figure out what this tick is because it's between the 4 and the 5. So is it before 1:30 or after? The 6 represents 30 minutes. Is this longhand before the 6? Yes, it is. So we're going to put here, what does the minute hand tell us? It is before 1:30. They're trying to give you the 30 minutes as a guide because you know once you leave 12 and go all the way around to 6, 30 minutes have gone by. So they're just trying to get you to use that as a way of helping you find the time. If the minute hand is before the 6, you know 30 minutes has not gone by. If the minute hand is after the 6, you know 30 minutes have gone by. So we know 30 minutes haven't gone by, so we have to figure out what exact time is there. So we're going to do that in a minute. It says, now you need to count on by 5s and 1s from the 12 on the clock to where the minute hand is pointing. Write the missing counting numbers next to the clock. When a clock shows 30 or fewer minutes after the hour, you can read the time as a number of minutes after the hour. So again, this clock is not showing after 30 minutes. So we know whatever minutes we come up with has to be before 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and do it. It says 0, 5, and then this would be what? This 2 represents 10. This 3 represents 15 because we're counting by 5s. Now this 4 represents 20. They already wrote that for us. Now we got to count minutes. That's why they have these little pointers. So this would be 21. That's 22. And then this other next one after 22 would be 23. So now do we know what time it is? Knowing that the shorthand is between the 1 and the 2, which means it's the 1 o'clock hour, but it's moving toward the 2 because the 2 o'clock hour will be coming soon. So we know it's before 1:30. What time is it? It is 1:23. Now we can read that. We just did 1:23. Now we can write it 23 minutes after 1. And then we can write it again, 1. And then we can write the words 20-3. Everybody got that? All right. Then it says here is another way. Find minutes before the hour. It says look at the time on this clock face. So we're going to use this one. And it says, what does the hour hand tell you? Well, again, if we look at this clock, this is the shorthand that gives us the hour. It's between 2 and 3. It is not the 3 o'clock hour yet. It's moving that way because it will be 3 o'clock soon. So it's still 2 o'clock. It's in the 2 o'clock hour. So we're going to write, it is between 2 and 3. That's what we see here. The shorthand is between 2 and 3. Then it goes on to say, what does the minute hand tell you? If we look over again, here's the minute hand, and we know it's between 8 and 9, but we also know that it's definitely after 2:30 because we know it's in the 2 o'clock hour. We know it's past the 6. Remember, we use the 6 or the 30 minutes as a guide to tell us how many minutes have gone by. And we know that this minute hand is past 2:30. So that's what we're going to write. What does the minute hand tell you? It is after 2:30. Okay? Now it's going to tell us what to do. Now count by 5s and 1s from the 12 o'clock back to where the minute hand is pointing. Write the missing counting numbers next to the clock. When a clock shows 31 minutes or more minutes after the hour, you can read the time as a number of minutes before the next hour. All right, so now we're going to count up to see if we can figure this out. So we know it's past 2:30, and we can count to find this out. We can start here and work our way back. So from the 12, we started 0. Then the 11 would be 5, 10. So we're going to put a 10 here. The next would be the number 9. That represents 15. And then if I zoom in here, you can see that now we have to count by 1s. Again, that is our learning target today, how we can tell time to the exact minute. So now we're at 15. This represents 16. They wrote it for us. And this is what? 2:17. All right, it's not 2:17. What we're showing here is that in 17 minutes, it will be 3 o'clock. So we have to write that in here because they wanted us to do it backwards this time. They told us it's 2:43. Now we know because it's 2:43 in 17 minutes, it will be 3. All right, so it says 17 minutes before 3 o'clock. So what is the exact time? They already told us up here, 2:43. We're writing it in words, 2, and then write in words, 40-3. Okay, my friends, this one we probably won't do a lot, counting backwards on the clock, because I think it's a little confusing. I'd rather count forwards and then just count the ticks that are left to find out what time it is. But this was just another strategy that they wanted to show us. Okay, now I really want to stop there because I know I really only like to keep my videos to about 15 minutes. I wanted to quickly just go over this calendar. Boys and girls, we did create this bright yellow calendar that you had with your packet, but you'll notice that Miss Harling has been changing things on here a little bit because yesterday I did do the introduction to vocabulary and I did do these 2 pages. But today I didn't do all the pages that were there. I only did 2 pages. So I'm going to fix this and I'm going to put that I did 561 and 562, and that's it. But I would like for you to try tonight's homework if you can, okay? So let me just show you real quick. This would be the homework page. It says practice and homework lesson 10.1, and it says page 565. I will go over this tomorrow. No worries, okay? But I'm just giving it to you if you'd like to do it. All I'm trying to say is for this calendar, it's a little ambitious. What I mean by that is there's a lot on here for us to do each day, and I want to take it a little bit slower. So we as the teachers, as we go along and do this with you, we're starting to see that we might need to take a little bit more time and make these videos short. And if I stay on, I've got to get through all these pages, and I think that's a little too long. So no worries, just follow along with me if you're really unsure of how to do the next page, because I'm going to do the next page tomorrow. Also, I just wanted to mention that we did get the Earth Day posters. I hope everybody watched that and saw the winners. You all did a great job. Thank you so much for submitting your posters. Mrs. Radon wanted me to mention real quickly that if you have any questions for her for ELA, please send them through Remind app or Microsoft Teams. And again, I talked about the calendar. You don't really have to follow this. You can just follow what I'm doing because I'm only going to probably do 2 pages a day. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope that this helped mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, aunts, whoever's trying to help you at home. I definitely want to help so that it makes it a little easier for you. Okay. Have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.